I got
Yes,
it.
diving, yeah,
That was a
that was-
total 50-50.
We've already considered taken care of tacking, so let's just go to driving.
Alright, I got a question about
Yeah.
driving. Okay, so where I am, I still have never made a jibe. I can switch my feet and then I fall. And I either fall forward or either side.
What angle are you on when you switch feet?
So I start to bring the kite up, and as it gets pretty high, the board, you know, I head up just a tiny bit, and that's when I switch.
That's good.
But I'm still not getting 100% into the front foot strap. Like sometimes I switch and my feet are in the wrong place. But my question is, sometimes I don't know like exactly what direction. So let's say I'm on starboard going to port. I don't know exactly what direction my kite should be pulling when I foot switch. Because what I find is sometimes I come out of the foot switch and then I'm out of balance. Well, actually every time. I'm out of balance. And like, you know, and I haven't quite.
Is it both the same way? You know,
Yeah, more or
side?
less. Yeah,
Is it
more or less.
strong toe side, weak
I'm
toe side?
I'm better going from starboard to port.
Is it your strong toe side?
Well, I'm regular foot, so that's
Yeah,
good.
that makes sense.
So that means you're gonna have trouble with that later, because when you're weak toe side, you cannot control the board that well. So immediately it will point down to the kite, because the kite will lose power and drop.
Okay.
So at the beginning it
I'll
feels
look
better.
forward to that problem. Yeah, but you know, like I'm trying to figure out that, like what angle it should be, and then when I'm switching, how much I should be pulling on the bar, right? Because you know, sometimes I pull a lot, sometimes I pull a little. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You realize when he gets the jibe, you guys are gonna be in trouble.
So give me some bad advice.
Don't worry about it.
So
You'll
we
figure
should
it
just
out.
tell them all they're wrong.
Well, I mean, I've told you this before, but I think at the stage ride, I would just practice switching and riding toe side.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And then jibe.
Yeah, and just ride toe side for a while. Right? You're not, and then once you're comfortable and you can get the kite in a good spot, and you're like, okay, now I'll try to jibe. But you've got to be comfortable riding toe side both directions.
Yeah, so first, if you're regular, doing it from starboard to port's good, because you're going to come out strong toe side,
Yeah.
which is definitely going to be easier. And I think you're totally right, Mike. And don't be afraid if you come out kind of on a low toe side angle, because you're going to bear off during the foot switch. So the kite, okay, so in terms of your question of where should the kite be, it shouldn't be in like a deep downwind angle, right? Normally, I'll bring the
But
kite
like,
up gently.
how much pulling toward windward versus down, I guess, is it? I mean, I know it's up, right? And you want it pulling you up.
Yeah, it's up.
I think the
windwards,
kite's
right?
about, like, my hand would be here. So if I'm just going, I wouldn't even think about like going on a fast downwind angle and then turning it into a jibe. I would just go and like do a slow reach back and forth trying to figure this out.
Okay.
Go like 12 knots back and forth. Like you need some speed, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the kite having apparent wind that's going to hold you up. But I would go just on a beam reach with my back foot out, and another thing I've been trying to get Gia to do. What I would do is go along and lift up on your back foot and try to ride for like 3 seconds
Why didn't you do that?
Just
without
on
switching your foot, and just feel putting your weight on the kite and then back, and then planting your back foot in the middle of the board again, because that's what gives you your like roll stability back. But if you can get to the point where you're like 3 seconds just riding along, and you'll bear off or whatnot, but keeping the board under your feet, keeping your foil height the same, that means that you have plenty of time now to be able to do that. And when you do that, you'll shift downwind and you'll come out kind of awkward because toe side on a foil is just kind of weird. But that's like, I think 90% of the difficulty is getting the kite tension for you to be able to do that switch dialed in.
Also,
Can
if
you
you
walk
can't
us
do the
quickly?
foot switch right now, like on land.
Also, the foot
exactly,
switch
that
needs to
means
be
you're not
2
gonna be able to
steps.
do it.
The
You
foot
can
switch
practice
needs
it
to
on
be
the
2 steps. It cannot be like.
Keanu Reeves and Point Break.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, literally, you can do that 100 times in the
Not like
water.
mine.
Yeah.
Seth does, you're using one, it looks like, it's like you're.
Just to get
I do a little bit of a dance. I was gonna say, like, my big breakthrough has been bringing the kite up in one motion. And what I used to do is bring the kite up, take your back foot out, and then you'd almost try and bring the kite up again. But because you're bringing it up that second time, you'd have a quarter the lift. So if you start bringing it up, take your foot out as you're just starting to bring it up, and then you basically have that one shot to get it.
This is more for like a racing jibe. Like
Yeah, for racing jibe, but you have the more lift you have in the kite, the easier it is to switch your feet.
Do you switch your feet at the top or on the way up?
At the top.
At the top.
Yeah.
You wait till it's at the top?
So you can drive it immediately and turn it.
So similar to the attack is one continuous
Yeah, it's
maneuver
very
for
similar to
the-
attack.
for
You're doing the
kite.
same exact bar in and out to keep the right level on the foil. Yeah, it's on. It's
We could
really
talk through
close
like
to
a
attack.
racing jive,
Can
maybe.
you talk a little bit about coming up and how much you come up, or do you not
Bear
come
off,
up,
like-
in what situation?
I mean,
do you
the
come
goal
up?
is to not
Not
have
come
to.
up at all. So I think that's what Seth's saying. He's saying he used to come up more to try to get
More
enough
lift?
lift on the kite, but if you can use the fact that the kite's going from kind of deep in the window here to this angle, that motion
Gives a lot of
puts
lift.
a lot of power into the kite. So as it's coming up, it gets kind of right to here, that's when you can get enough power pulling in to do the foot switch. And then the kite's moving this direction, it's still one motion.
Stop.
And you-
And now.
Yeah.
That's the key point, there's no stop.
You get the nose through the jibe and then roll the kite?
He's getting there, he's getting there.
Yeah, so that's right. So now I'm basically, because I've done this foot switch, my body weight moved to the new side of the board, and it's
But
naturally starting to
I'd
carve.
say this,
Hold on,
you
I'm
haven't
getting there.
crossed, your board hasn't crossed the wind yet.
No, I'm on the new jibe, the
Right.
wind's coming this way.
Right.
But my feet are switched, and the kite's moving that direction, and then I start carving, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looping the kite.
What do you do first? You pull or you carve or same time?
I think you carve, and then you worry about the kite.
Carve
Yeah.
and then loop?
I think that generally I'm like well past dead downwind by the time the kite does the like really powered part of that loop. Because I'm sitting into it. You can like actually fall into that.
It seems like you guys are looping like so fast though as you switch. You switch your feet and you're like, my loop is often really late.
Yeah.
Like I switch and I get going and then it's like I'm waiting for the kite to come.
Yeah, then you're still going dead downwind and the kite's over here and there's no power. Whereas
Right.
you want
Oh, 1800.
if you want it for 1800. But no, but I think you're right. You want the kite to be up, foot switch, and then right into the loop, but you're turning at the same time, right? So it's starting to turn, but it hasn't gotten to the powered part of its loop until you've just crossed dead downwind.
Gotcha.
But now the kite, you still want the kite pulling downwind, right? If I turn all the way and I've waited for the kite to shoot that way, now the kite's behind me, and that's going to be an awkward jibe. Now it's gonna power up. You're gonna get like lurched this way and end up doing like this really edge of the window jibe. So it's
Yeah, and then you get weird it pulls at weird times, cause I feel like that's what happens.
Because you slow down too.
Cause I slow down too much and then the kite's back here and then when you watch him just come into the beach and jibe, he's just like powered up and just flying out of it, and like if you're not timing the loop with,
I think that what
And
I
the
do
line
with the bar.
tension in the kite the whole time.
Is there a bar? Okay, so
I'd say one thing Joey taught me is consistent line pressure through the whole maneuver.
Yeah, it's huge because that will make your
Yeah,
kite
but the
turn
problem-
slower or faster.
The problem with that is that when you do that and the foot switch fails, then that's not very good. So that's a problem. So I usually wait. That's my problem because sometimes I'll get the lift, but I wait until I'm certain that my feet are on the other side. By then I've overflown the kite, and so that's a problem.
So think about starting the loop as you do the foot switch. So we're going along, and the kite comes up, and then there's this moment of commitment where the kite's gotten to here, and we got to do this, right?
So you're
But
shooting in to do that.
I'm shooting in to do that, and I'm starting to turn.
Yeah.
But the kite's still up here, right?
Yeah.
But it needs to start turning because it's got like 90 degrees of turn before it even like gets into the dive. So you've started the kite turning, and then you can that's so that you can keep up with the turn of the kite. By the time you get here, the kite's into the powered part of the turn.
If I feel I don't need to pull, I'm switching feet and the board is staying high, what am I doing wrong?
You're switching feet, but the board is staying on a reach. Oh, staying high off the
Staying
water.
high, like I don't feel like I need to hang. I'm like my board.
Well, that's a
going.
perfect thing.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
That's good.
Point
Well,
down,
what you're
point
probably
downwind
doing is-
more.
Well, you're probably heading up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't come up as much,
You
there
do, I
won't be as
see.
much
Yeah,
power in the
well,
kite.
So you can do it two ways to achieve the weightless.
I head up
You
so
can
much.
either
I
head up
really
onto
bad.
a reach or you can use your bar.
Yeah, so okay.
So
Did
Jenny,
I miss
continue, or
this?
you were just saying the process you were
I think I got through it mostly.
I guess, how do you, once you're jiving consistently, but you're heading up, you're like, I have this problem where I just
Head up too
heading
much.
up too much because I need line tension, maybe I don't have balls to just go fast, but how do you transition to making faster, more downwind, less heading up jives?
I liked what Seth said about bringing the kite up in one motion, and right as it starts to get to the top.
Yeah, because
Doing the
that's
foot
the
switch.
thing I watch a lot of guys here do wrong is bring the kite up, take your
And
foot
then
out,
switch your feet.
and then you try and just sheet in, and
Right.
you don't have anything more.
Unless
So
you head
at
up,
that
that's
point, you
what I
have
mean.
to head up, and then
Right.
once you've headed up, you have so far to go. Whereas if you do it all in one motion and you bring the kite up, bring your foot out, switch it,
So
then
when
your board's basically
when you bring your
downwind
rear
already.
foot out, do you put it in front of the strap, or you
Yeah,
just go
going
pulling out and
fast.
right into the front strap?
I take it out for a split second. It's like as the kite's coming, I start bringing the kite up, I take it out, and then it's
You
in.
can take out even
There's
before, but just when you
definitely
think
more
you're ready to
steps in a
jive,
jive.
just take the foot out.
Tacking, a good tack
Yeah.
is strap to
Is
strap in
strap to
both
strap.
feet, and a good jive, you should definitely bring your back foot out, then forward.
Do you guys
Then
ollie
here,
the
then
board
there.
at all in a jive?
I can go strap to strap jiving, and it's like way scarier and doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not faster.
In
Really?
a general,
Yeah.
in a general thinking rule, would you say it's true that the turn of the board leads the turn of the kite?
That's the question.
Slightly.
In behind.
Yeah, I would. On a jive, yeah.
But
Yeah,
through the
said-
through the wind,
Yeah.
No, if
so you cross
So
the
you
wind
can
with the
create
nose of the
tensions.
board before you've
Loop the kite?
begun looping the kite.
Yeah.
Well, the kite,
you've begun looping the kite. The kite hasn't crossed through the window though. The
But
kite, the
nose
kite at that
has-
point.
the
He
kite's
just
still
saying
really
that
high.
the
the
board
nose
starts
is
turning
crossed through
before the
Yeah.
loop starts.
So that's
Yeah.
probably
The
a
nose
big
is across
difference
the wind
between a
before the
kite,
kite-
a tack and a jive.
See, I try that and I keep basically dragging the tip on the water and I'm yanking the steering line really hard to make sure I rotate
Maybe you need to
before-
start the turn a little earlier with the kite, but you're still going to get the board through dead downwind before the kite.
You're
is
basically you're
dead
starting to turn the kite as soon as you possibly can. It's just when the board's going past dead downwind, the kite's basically pointed straight down.
Right, and I'm finding I'm not gonna make it, so I have to really yank the steering line, and by that time, I'm just, I'm almost crashing the kite, and the kite's super low on the water now. Pulling the center line to get it back up.
I've really worked on jive this year, and I found that like going fast helps everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You switch
Sure.
your feet, and then then the kite has plenty of pressure, and you pull on the bar. And if you're going fast and you pull on the bar, right, the kite starts turning. And if you do it right, it's amazing. Like the kite starts turning, and you do your toe turn, and the kite's way up high, and then
Yeah.
it's like you have to
There's like a
actually
little
turn
loop
left
up
to
there.
get the thing low, right? And I found it's when you're going fast and there's a lot of apparent in the kite, then the kite turns well. When you slow down a lot and there's no apparent wind, it doesn't turn very well, and then it starts going slack.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I
rule
think.
is with all things kiting, grow a pair.
Well, and honestly,
I mean,
it's
it's true.
it's that problem of if you either come up too high, you bring your kite up soon, but you don't switch your feet, you end up having to come up. And when you're trying to do that transition from heading on basically a beam reach all the way through, the kite has frankly farther to go.
Right.
And when you're going low, if you watch these guys and they don't head up really at all in their drives, their kite almost stalls for that first quarter of the turn because they're heading dead downwind at that point. And so their kite gets through that first quarter of the turn is like that.
Right.
It's not a full flow turn.
But I don't think full racing jive kite stalls. The apparent wind is still.
Well,
adds,
I guess
slowly-
stalling's not
adds
right,
up
but if you watch the rate of turn
Mm.
in that first bit, it's very fast. Whereas if you head up all the way, it's a slow arc the whole way.
I watch these guys, they're apparent wind tacking, right? They're ripping downwind, they bring the kite up, right? And if you look at the kite, it never faces back, right? So, right, the kite's here, they bring it up, and they turn, and the kite turns like this. So the apparent wind's this way, right? And they're going
That's when you
dead
switch your
downwind faster than the wind, right? And so there's still flow, and the thing wants to turn, and then it goes fast. And I found that's when you're hauling ass through the tack, you have apparent wind.
And then the degrees you need to turn the kite is
Yeah.
probably 90 degrees fewer.
Yeah, it's easy to turn when you have that.
Should we get videos of it and then talk them over after?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so the plan, it's 1:45 to 2